What is up, people? Forgot to add myself to the stage there. We are back with another match reaction here on the Cup Chasers because the Arsenal have finally won at Stamford Bridge. It's been such a long time since we've even put in a good performance there, and today we've done so and finally gotten it over the line in the Carabao Cup semifinal. We've finally played well. Finally, Viktor Gyökeres puts in a performance we can all get behind. So happy for him, of course, to get the goal and, of course, the performance to go with it today. I'm very, very ecstatic, very happy after this one. Performance and the result to go with it. Yes, we had some shaky moments. Yes, we left Garnacho alone on the back post when we shouldn't have, of course, and he's made us pay, keeping the tie close, but with an advantage. We're going back to the Emirates Stadium where I'm very confident we'll get the job done. That's right. And you've got a job to do. Please, people, get the like button hit. It really helps the channel. Of course, subscribe if you are new. Thanks for being here. There is a hype button if you got any of those left. Go ahead and hype it up. And of course, tell me what you're thinking about the performance in the comments section down below. Now, as you know, when we saw the lineups, when I first saw the teams, I was very, very excited. Definitely thought it was an opportunity for us to put in a performance and to really show that we have the better squad, the better players, definitely on the field as far as the 11 was concerned. And I think right from minute one, we pressed them to death in that first half. Just absolutely nullified them completely, and they stuck to it. Credit to them, they stuck to playing out from the back, but they, especially in the first half, it kind of extended for 10 minutes into the second half until Garnacho's first goal, as far as how effective we were in the press. And there were times before Odegaard came off in the game where, as well in that second half, where we were still as effective in the press, but I don't think we were as effective in the second half in the press. But in the first half, they could not, for the life of them, figure out what we were doing. Enzo Fernandez was getting so upset. You could see him doing this and waving his arms around every time Sanchez refused to pass him the ball, because he could see that Martin Zubimendi was in his pocket, was like right behind him the whole time. And if it wasn't Martin Zubimendi, I saw William Saliba go in there one time with Enzo Fernandez and really didn't allow him to get on the ball and to dictate the game and be the build-up and the progressor that normally Caicedo or James would be. And Enzo, he worked hard, and he was like their main, the main guy, I think, who did the most for them today. The ball, they would definitely try to play through him as they tried to build out from the back, but they were unable to do so because of the way Viktor was pressing Sanchez from our left-hand side. Of course, Chelsea were looking to bring Fernandez so they could get the ball to the opposite side of our press because, of course, Odegaard is pressing on Fofana, but they were never able to do that. Not even once were they able to do that, because anytime Sanchez played it in, Viktor dropped immediately, and Zubimendi was on his touch. And so Sanchez wasn't even really playing that pass to the first guy. Now, they did try to skip it a little bit because of how narrow Esteval was coming. Esteval was coming really far inside to help with this exact problem in the buildup, but he also had Leandro Trossard following him the whole time into the center, so that he wasn't able to get on the ball either. And so in that first half, they had absolutely no answer. And when we made Sanchez hit it long, which was quite often, we won most of the second balls. And on the opposite side as well in that first half, when João Pedro would check back for the ball, same thing. He's absolutely blanketed, and he did not have a lot of good touches in that first half, João Pedro. He's absolutely blanketed. But as an example of just how well the tactics were working is when they didn't, is when Enzo was able to get on the ball. Maybe they've won a 50-50 challenge. For example, when Esteval got the shot off, yes, he was offsides, but when he got the shot off for Kepa to make the save on the opposite side, that was what Chelsea were looking to do when they did have the ball. We're looking to get Enzo in those spaces and find the opposite side pass so that Martin and Zubi were on this side of the field, and if they could get the ball to the opposite side, there'd be more space. And they were able to do that a couple of times, but that was it for the first half. That was legitimately all they were able to do for the first half. Now I want to speak on Benny Blanco. Of course, Benjamin White coming back into the team. I thought against Portsmouth, he was kind of shaky, kind of rusty. And the game before that when he played, I thought the same. I was like, man, he's a little bit rusty. Needs time to get back to it. And I said so at the beginning of the watch along. I thought the same thing when I saw that he was in the lineup. I'm like, Ben White's definitely going to have a big game today. And he absolutely did that. Free header in the box, of course, on his goal. But more than that, he was able to definitely fend off Pedro Neto. Pedro Neto hardly went at him at all in that first half, at least. And he was the guy that would follow João Pedro into the middle. And he was on that touch every single time. Just the way I was talking about in the watch along, how Cucurella is always on Saka's touch. He's always right behind him. Ben White had done the same to João Pedro every time he's run into the center and checked back to receive the pass. And we were all over that touch, all over them in the first half. And they were not able to figure it out whatsoever. And I thought that, like I said at halftime, I was like, more of the same. Let's just bring more of the same in the second half. And I definitely thought we did that, at least for the first 10 minutes. Very happy. Once again, some good combination down the right-hand side. Ben White gets the assist. And we mentioned it was a free header on the corner kick. That's because Robert Sanchez was in no man's land for the corner kick. And then Robert Sanchez letting himself down once again. But my man Gyökeres is there. He's there, finally there. That's a poacher's finish, a forward's finish, a striker's goal. And 100% needed that. 100% going to give him confidence. You could see it immediately in his next two touches. He definitely has already gained the confidence from that finish. I will say he noticed, very aware of the fact that Sanchez is kind of just giving him that. He was very aware of the fact that Sanchez definitely makes a howler and lets it underneath him, and Viktor is there busting his butt to get there. Yes, he gave the celebration, but it was muted because he definitely understood. All right, yes, I was there. Yes, I was doing my job. I was in my position, but it's a gift. It's an absolute gift, and we'll take it all day long. Take that all the live long day long. Now, as far as defensively and giving up these goals, I should mention before I move on, one of the biggest reasons for the success of our high press in that first half was the understanding that Viktor Gyökeres and Martin Odegaard are starting to get. And with Declan Rice behind him and Zubimendi behind them, the way they are starting to understand where they need to be as they follow their men in the press. I think that when Kai Havertz was at his best up top for us, he had that understanding with Odegaard, when Odegaard was going to press, when he was going to activate the press. And I think Gyökeres is getting there. And I think today showed that immensely. He showed that understanding on full display today, because Viktor his pressing today was a very, very big part of why we were making Sanchez kick it long, why we were making him make poor passes. You can't underestimate the pressure that the front guys are putting on the ball when the opposition can't figure out how to play through you, and all they're doing is lumping it long. I mean, that's our bread and butter all day long. If the very first thing Arteta brought us to being good at was the high press, is defending from the front, being able to get in their face, suffocate teams, and not let them play out from the back. That's our bread and butter. Try to make the goalkeeper hit it long. And I think Viktor Gyökeres was instrumental, invaluable to that effort today. That's why he's on the thumbnail. He's got the goal. And I hope it's a sign of good things to come. Many, many more to come in the future. Got the highlights on here, and it's a perfect moment to move into the only negative I have for the day. We can't let crosses in, man. We just can't. We can't let crosses in. Like all of the goals, like literally all the goals we concede. Like we don't concede again. We're not conceding fast breaks this season. We're not conceding from intricate passes that have, that are front to back. Every man on the field touched it, and they were able to do little 1-2s and get in a good scoring position. That's not how we concede at all this season. The only way we've conceded this season have been from crosses. From crosses. Now, yeah, the first one's a corner, but it's a cross, right? And it's chaos in the box. Garnacho finds himself free on the back post. Gives Kepa the eyes and does it near post. Kepa's not going to be excited about that one. He'll get beaten near post for that first goal. I wasn't excited about it, and I doubt he's going to be excited about it. But for the second one, yes, we were scrambling. Yes, Zubi lost the tackle. Rice lost the tackle. Or no, Marino lost it. Zubi lost the tackle. Rice lost the tackle. And Odegaard was the one retreating, right? He just doesn't get close enough to Pedro Neto. And I've been critical of Odegaard in these moments. The goal against Wolves, he was doing his wing thing where he bends over and he does this number in front of the defender like he's going to scare him like an eagle or something. That's what he was doing versus Wolves. He just doesn't get close enough to Pedro Neto, who gets a little dink cross in. And, of course, on the back post, there's no one. Garnacho does well to finish that one. You got to give it to him. Garnacho, of all people, we've let score a brace against us. It's kind of disgusting if you ask me. But, managed to keep him at 2, thankfully. It's interesting, the pattern of some of the games. This one we dominated for a long time. For sure. And then a little bit of adversity. They get the goal. It's 2-1. I think that we have shown. I think we've improved a little bit game to game as far as in this regard. If you look back at the Sunderland last second loss and then the way the Wolves game was at the last second. I think in this regard, the Brighton game at the end of it was not as comfy as we like, but it was more comfortable than Wolves. And so as we've gone on, I think that we've been more and more comfortable at the end of games. This one, not as comfortable as we would like, but at the very, very end of it, we were the ones going forward. We were the ones getting shots and chances off at the very end. I like that we didn't at even any point try to take the ball into the corner. They were pressing far forward in that second half to try to get the equalizer, and we were able to kind of control the very, very end of the game and nullify them to not much as the game died out in the end. Let's see. Who else can we speak on? Bukayo Saka, not at his best today. Not at his best today. There were a couple of times in that first half we forced a high turnover, and Saka has tried to hit it into the channel for Gyökeres, and it was just a terrible ball. 2 different times. Just awful. Awful pass from Saka 2 different times in that first half, trying to find Gyökeres in moments where I think if he'd gotten the ball right, he would have had a chance in the channel in space. Not Saka's best game today. I thought that Cucurella definitely did well on him. Definitely had him locked until the yellow card. I definitely think that Cucurella, is a shin kicker, is a bit of a dirty player, but Saka knows that. Saka should know that. And it's not difficult, really, to beat a guy who's always on your back, who's always trying to be in your pocket. There are really easy ways to just spin the guy and get in behind. And I think that's something that, we can work on moving forward. Obviously, they know this. I think that until the yellow card for Cuckoo, he had Saka on lock. Saka didn't really want to go at him. And so in the time after that, until Saka was subbed off, I thought that wait, did Saka come off? Can't remember if Saka came off or not. But the time up until, a couple of times he went at Cucurella after that. No, he didn't come off, actually. A couple of times he did go at Cucurella, but I thought that Cucurella is definitely the winner in that battle today. Luckily, we didn't need Saka to be the superstar today. Luckily, Gyökeres stepped up with a goal, had a good performance up top. I do want to mention something in this vein. Gyökeres was fantastic. When Jesus and Havertz came on as the front two guys pressing, that don't work. No, I don't ever want to see that again. Kai Havertz in the 10 does not work, ever, period. Never, ever do I want to see that again. I know it was just to see out the end of the game, but our press was non-existent. They couldn't figure it out. So when Jesus, Marino, Havertz, and when those are the front three, we didn't really have the press. There was no kind of cohesion in the press. So the press definitely suffers when Martin Odegaard comes out of the game. Although I will say that Mikel Merino was fantastic today. Mikel Merino had a nice little cameo. I enjoyed that. Martin Odegaard was pretty good. Definitely in that first half, leading the press, making sure we knew where to be. He was activating the press a lot more than we've seen versus some teams, especially in that second half versus Liverpool. So I was definitely happy to see that from Martin. Definitely a good performance today. I think that, talking to Liam Rossignol there. I think that, let's see, who else can we talk about? Leandro Trossard. Well done today. Worked very hard defensively to make sure that Esteval did not break our press when he's coming in, because they had Achimpong way wide, and so we're keeping Timber out there, and they would pull Esteval in to make Gabriel come in. But Trossard's help on Esteval's touch nullified that completely. So I think Leandro Trossard definitely played very, very well today. I'm more so going back than forward. I thought he was decent on the ball, had a couple of good looks, but definitely gets an applause for his work in the other direction. So as far as the win, man, Declan Rice doing Declan Rice things, Zubimendi looking good in there, of course, as well. Big Gabriel should score, man. Oh, Big Gabriel should score. He's got a free header on the back post. Definitely should have made it 4. Could have been 5, honestly. There was a couple of shots, bit wayward. Odegaard had one from outside the box. Zubi had one that scared the corner flag. Speaking of Zubimendi, fantastic finish for the game winner. What poise in the box. Sits down a couple of man. Fofana nowhere. Can't figure out what Zubi's doing and tucks it home. Ends up being the game winner. I think he's had a fantastic game as well. Vying for the spot on the thumbnail, I would say. So very, very happy with the midfield performance, with the forwards performance. Jurriën Timber was fantastic as well. It's one of those things where it's a pattern. When Arsenal play really, really well and we do really well and have a good performance, not necessarily a good result. Of course, it's a fantastic result, this one. But when Arsenal play well and have good performances, it's kind of tough to figure out who the man of the match is. It could have gone, I'm giving it to Victor. Sure, he's on the thumbnail. Could have gone to Martin Zubimendi. Could have gone to Ben White as well. So definitely lots of praise to be heaped We can't let the crosses in, though. That's something that's still a worry, and it's cost us 2 goals today. You love to hear William Saliba in the post-match interview on CBS there. When they asked him, they said it was a good win. The first thing he said was, yeah, I hate to concede those goals. 4 goals to concede on the crosses, so they know. But yeah, it was a good win. And as an aside, William Saliba he sounds like a grown ass man. Like he's like a super deep French voice, like the typical deep French man voice. I thought that was hilarious. Sometimes when you look at these players, you don't expect. Of course, I've heard Saliba speak before, but you don't necessarily expect to hear the way they sound, and you forget that that's how they sound. Especially me, because all the broadcasts I listen to are American, and so most of the accents are American, and so especially on CBS. And so when they ask William Saliba a question, and then he just comes in with this really thick French accent, it kind of throws me for a loop. But anyway, of course, what a massive win this is! Fantastic victory. Pressure was on. Definitely looked like on paper Arsenal were the team to win it, and they've gone and done it for the first time in a while at the Bridge. I'm very, very excited with that performance. Very happy with what they've done there. Good to get the result and an advantage going into the next leg, the home leg of the semifinal. I believe it's on February 4th. We're definitely looking forward to that one. It was a good game. Very excited about it. Very happy for Viktor Gyökeres. Very, very, very happy for Gyökeres to get on the score sheet. You can immediately tell that he was buoyed by that. You can immediately tell from the next 10 minutes of the game before he came off were some of his best in that game. Like I said, I thought he worked hard in the press and was very, very good. Well worth being on my thumbnail today. So yeah, absolutely happy. We've been made to work hard for it. Very, very hard for it. So it'll be very interesting to see what we put out at Nottingham Forest at the weekend. But yeah, all in all, fantastic win. Very, very happy with that. I don't think we got any injuries either. That's new. It's been a good day. Been a very, very good day for sure. Definitely showed the mentality to keep it tight and be strong at the end of that game and stand up instead of kind of crumbling a little bit, which we looked like we might do. Looked a little shaky there for a minute, but in the end, we were able to see it out, and I couldn't be more grateful. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Of course, thanks for being here, people. We are going to be back tonight live with the Cup Chasers podcast. My man Nez will be there. Hopefully Asif will be able to make it as well. Of course, it's been like 8 days since I've had the guys on for your regularly scheduled program here on the podcast. So we're definitely looking forward to that. We're speaking, of course, on the Carabao Cup. We're speaking Man City, Arsenal in the title race. Of course, we'll speak on Liverpool and on a slot situation as well. Of course, there's plenty to get to. So get the notification bell on. We will be live at 8:30 p.m. here on the East Coast of America. So make sure you don't miss it. Of course, thanks for being here, and you will see me next time.